So this is the 1550 building. It is built by Related California. It's one of the preeminent developers. It is 40 stories, 550 apartments. It is the first approved and operational Greywater project in San Francisco. We are recycling about 7,500 gallons per day. So that's Greywater coming from showers, from laundry, from bathroom sinks, treated, and then reused for toilets and urinals. And if you kind of add up all of those different functions, it's kind of close to like 2.5 million gallons of water per year, which is important in a place like San Francisco, which is in a place like California. We're going from drought to drought to drought. They're becoming more frequent, more prolonged. But to have a building that is no longer using fresh water from Hetch Hetchy to flush our toilets, but is instead using recycled water generated on site, makes a big difference. So obviously, for these types of systems, people often ask how much space do they require? And the answer is that they don't require a ton of space. The systems themselves, the engines, but what does require space are the tanks. Because obviously we need space to hold the water before, and then space to hold the treated water after the treatment. So we're going to go to the tank room now. You see where we both collect water before treatment and where we hold the water after treatment. That water then gets distributed via purple pipes into the building. You're going to get your very first purple pipe sighting.
Boom.
Real life purple pipe right there. This system is designed to supply enough recycled water for all the toilet and urinal flushing. So in terms of how much gray water the building produces, we're only capturing a fraction of it because we're matching the source to the final use.
The need. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So it's always a fun process to basically look at what is all the potential sources in a building, but then what is the final non-potable applications, because oftentimes these buildings are producing way more than we can actually reuse.
Yeah, so if the building's doing 7,000 gallons of flushing a day, that then that's what your system is designed to capture, treat, and put back in.
Correct.
Yeah.
But what we found is that a lot of these early projects just wanted to kind of do the bare minimum. You know, it's like, I'm going to use recycled water for toilets and urinals, and that's great, and it's a huge thing. But now people are starting to understand we can do so much more. We can use water for irrigation, for cooling towers, even for laundry. So rather than just reusing 20 or 30% of our water, we can reuse 50, 60, in some cases for office buildings, 95%. We can reuse 95% of the water we generate, which means that is 95% less water we pull in from the city. Yeah. So it's like a huge, huge impact when you start to calculate all that.
And that other 5% is just the drinking water. That's like what people actually drink, which is a small amount of water use when you look at it. Yeah.
Correct.
Even in our homes, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Eventually we'll deal with the drinking water too. We know we have the technologies to do it. You know, my father is my co-founder. He was trained in aerospace science, and as he often says, what do you think the astronauts have been drinking for decades?
Yeah.
We know we have these technologies. It's just about getting the regulators comfortable, getting the public comfortable. But at a certain point, society is shifting where there's a growing embrace of recycled water. We see that all the time. But it's also a necessity, and we're getting to a point now where if we continue to do things the same way we have for the last 200 years, we're never going to keep up with aging infrastructure, with urban population growth, with climate change, all the things that I know you know very well. You know, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. We basically have a menu of options, and we tailor that to whatever the project needs. So, you know, there's ultrafiltration, nanofiltration, there's kind of a bunch of different types, microfiltration. In our case, we are using membranes that are 1/1000th the diameter of human hair. So super, super fine membranes, not as fine as membranes go, but we don't need that. You know, we don't need the membrane of a reverse osmosis where you're going even finer, because it's just not required for these types of applications. Whenever you're doing something new in an industry, it's not just us, the technology vendor, it's all the people we work with also have to learn. So now with these first wave of projects coming online in California, you're seeing all of the biggest developers, the biggest architects, engineers, contractors who are also learning with us, and we're learning together. So whereas before we used to have to come and really explain how this all works, now they just get it.
Like,
they're evangelists. Now when they talk to us versus when we get signed up for a project, maybe that used to take 18 months, now it's 3 months. A lot of times, I'm sure you've seen submerged membranes, which are great. like, you know, those little spaghetti curtain things. But what we found is that they're greater when you have larger volumes. And also, you know, you're submerging them, which is great, but then when you take them out for repairs or maintenance for cleaning, you have to take them out. This is a 9.5-foot ceiling.
Yeah.
There's no space to do that.
Up? Right.
So that's why we like this decoupled membrane approach, where you have the membrane module separate from the mixed liquor.
Got it.
Which allows us to be able to, we can pop them on, pop them back on. We are doing things that I think no other water company in our space is doing.
Greywater coming in, clean water coming out, and going back up into the building. Unbelievable.